Righty. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, best beverage company. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys are doing well and whatnot. Oh, it all worked out according to plan. It all worked out according to plan. Anywho, what am I talking about? What am I gloating about, if you will, and whatnot? It looks like Smart Guys is going to go on a bit of a hiatus, or it's going to come back in an occasional situational type structure. Something that I've already talked about and predicted a while ago. The video from yesterday, the Spit That Grease, kind of gave you guys like a prelude to what this is for the most part. This was a long time coming. You know, ever since PPP ended up exiting stage right, it only made sense that it was going to turn out the way it does, which inevitably just proves that everything that Darksydephil touches, whether good, bad, or otherwise for him, will eventually turn into shit, and he's going to be stuck holding the bag. It's fantastic, to be honest with you. But with that being said, first off, let me go ahead and order the first round of SnortBucks, and let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment. Hopefully, for some of y'all, your favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, we're going to semi-retire Smart Guys. Long time coming. To be honest, DSP couldn't do it on his own. He never could, because he was never a wrestling fan. He was a fake, he was a fraud, he was a poser. I believe that the people around DSP, not only now, but even back then, were actual legitimate fans, or they actually cared. DSP didn't. He wanted to be included into the cool kids club, and he thought wrestling was something that he could easily piggyback on. Oh, let me act like I'm taking a little bit of notes. Oh, let me act like I remember some of this match or some of this match. Let me go ahead and try to paint this backstory of my godfather's house or my great uncle's house or whatever the fuck. And then, you know, that right there will carry the day. Typical to any poser, to be honest with you. It's funny, when you start really poking at the details, the whole story falls apart. Semantics. In any case, it fell apart because PvP's not there. Just, you know, it's just the reality of it. He's not a real wrestling fan. He can't carry a show on his own. He can't carry anything on a show anymore. And money, I think it's funny because we look at the money part of it. Oh, he wage quits everything. But the reality is just DSP can't carry anything anymore. He's not interested in anything. He doesn't care about anything. It's really just about money. In some ways, he doesn't even give a fuck about his ego. Look at how easily he was able look how easy it was for PPP to snatch what little of DSP soul from him. Jesus Christ. Andy basically fucked his wife right in front of him and whatnot, and DSP didn't say much about that. You know what I mean? Until he felt like he was forced to, but even then he really didn't care half-heartedly as long as the money came in. You know what I mean? It's once DSP wanted to try to reestablish control. It's once he wanted to prove he was a real boy, then all of a sudden everything fucked up and fell apart. That's his ego, by the way. And as I've told you, DSP will sacrifice money for the sake of his ego. He wasn't defending Cat. He was just defending his ego, which wasn't worth a damn, to be honest. So it's only poetic that, you know, Smart Guys is coming to an end. But yet again, I had already told you, other people had told you, probably wasn't going to make it past WrestleMania. Excuse me. Probably wasn't going to make it past WrestleMania. And if it did, I had said at the very least that he may only bring it back for the big wrestling events and the shows that may follow up, may either the pre-shows leading up to those big events or the post-shows that come after those events. That's it, to be honest. So whatever wrestling cards that he didn't get to open in, that's going to get shelved somewhere. That tablet that he spent all that money on, allegedly, to take notes, that's going to, I'm sure he'll watch his BBC porn on that. And that's pretty much the end of it. And then we go back on to what is the the slow drip, which is the fall of Darksydephil, to be honest with you. And I'm here for it. So it is what it is. So let's not cut you guys off from, you know, any more of this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's go ahead and just move on to what our situation is. Let's go with the coffee house. Let's do that. So I'm serving all you guys up anyway. First 3 rounds of SnortBucks is on me, as you guys know. And let's get into our video at hand. Let's see here. Where? So many other videos to still check off this list. Boy. I see, the thing is, those in May, I'm gonna have to take some time off, but so you guys might not get nearly as many videos, but probably get more longer videos maybe in May, just because I have so much ground that I'm trying to cover with this. Yeah, so it may still work out. Anyway, let's see, what video? Let's see here. Actually, give me a second. There's a notation on this one. Oh, that's right. That dude responded back to me on that. I'm gonna have to see if he has anything to actually say about it. All right, bet. If he does, then that might be interesting to see what he says, and then I can, if he's okay with coming on the record, that might actually be a cool thing. All right. Anyway, sorry. Let's see here. Here's the video in question. Oop, for the third time, I think I've said that. Shut that shit up. Okay. So disrespectful. Oh, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to us by Raw Phil. Big ups to Raw Phil. It was cut up by Diggs. Bigs up to the homies Diggs. It was on vacation for a while, so that means, I mean, he's got a lot of stuff here that he's already cut, and then all the other poorly cut stuff is on me. So you should be able to tell. Big ups to the homie Diggs, though. Big ups to Raw Phil. Okay. Just a second. Oh, Diggs got got the wing stuff done, though. Oh boy. Okay, there's some wings videos coming. Just gonna let y'all know that now. There's some wings videos coming. Oh baby, he talking all kinds of shit right now too. So he need to get slapped. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, after all of that nonsense that you guys really didn't need, if the editor wants to cut that out, cut it out. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Raw Phil. Thank you to big ups to Diggs for cutting all this up. Darksydephil speaks on the possible end of Smart Guys. This is from March 21st of 2025. Womp womp. This is obviously, this doesn't have the pre-bitch podcast in it. or the bottom bitch podcast in it. So if anything even comes out of that stream, then there'll be a part 2 to this. But other than that, this is just what happened on the 21st. Going over all the WrestleMania stuff, and it's cut into a couple different parts. So, but I think it's in order by timestamp, so it should be all right. In any case, thank you guys yet again. I don't smell no bacon cooking, and let's go ahead and get into it. I feel extra hype right now, man. I haven't even had my SnortBucks this morning. I'm just feeling good. Beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. All right, let's go ahead and get them. Here we go.
Alrighty, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to Smark Guys, episode 14, the WrestleMania 41 Super Show, being broadcast live on DSP Reacts, as well as on my Kick channel, DSP Gaming Reel. So welcome to what will be my longest wrestling commentary show in history. That is correct, even back in the day. When I used to do wrestling commentary, I never did a show this long, okay?
It's really sad that he thinks that's setting a precedence than anything, right? Like that's actually meaningful and that matters. That's really, really sad. But yet again, it reinforces DSP's belief of his own self-importance and how he believes other people view him as well, which is just absolutely delusional. And it's scary. It's scary that it's bad enough that you're already putting yourself on that pedestal, but you're so delusional that you believe other people have you on that very pedestal too. Yet none of those people come out and support you though. None of them give you money either on the back end or on the front end. And they're more than likely not even watching the content. But they'll gas you up though in Discords though, or in DMs. It's wild. It's really sad. It's kind of pathetic really. But really sad if nothing else.
So let's really talk a little bit. All right, today.
Which goes back to the old narrative, ladies and gentlemen. This is super important. You're not as bad as people say you are, and you're not as good as people say you are. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to you to weave all that out. But you're not as good as people say you are, and you're not as bad as people say you are. Something that applies to everybody.
Today is Monday, the 21st of April, 2025. I'm DSP, and this has been an interesting 4 months, to say the least. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Well, for those of you who know or don't know, I used to do this wrestling commentary show called Smart Guys way back when. It actually started as a piece of content that I did around like 2011, 2012-ish. Around the era of CM Punk's big, mic drop run in WWE, the era of the Shield debuting and all of that stuff. In fact, it actually began around...
And yet again, I still don't believe the belief that he puts out there, or that some people have, that this dude's never seen the Attitude Era. Because he was in the FGC, you know what I'm saying, when towards the end of getting towards the end of the Attitude Era. And that's something that was talked about in plenty of FGC circles. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially if he's allegedly a long-time wrestling fan. Now, keep in mind, he's sitting here saying that the time that he was really going over wrestling for profit, is back during the early CM Punk run, and so on and so forth. So there's that. But for him to say that he never watched anything from the Attitude Era just seems ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? That's an era that still to this very day has never been able to be overshadowed. So the fact that all the crazy zany bullshit that was going on at that time, entertaining as it was, and he never watched a lick of it, next to doubt. But DSP will lie about the dumbest shit though too. Like he'll lie about dumb shit that just doesn't make any sense, which is pretty much all of his lies. But you shouldn't lie at all anyway, to be honest. But he lies about stuff that just doesn't, functionally doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you going to say that you're a lifelong wrestling fan, but you didn't watch the Attitude Era? Like, what makes... Was it so popular that DSP needs to go against the grain, and he's the unique one that didn't watch any of it? So you didn't watch the rise, the rise and fall of fucking DX. You didn't watch the rise of fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. You didn't watch the rise of The Rock or Kurt Angle or Chris Jericho. You didn't watch the rise of any of that shit. Get the fuck out of here. Holy shit.
Around the time when you had the Nexus. Remember, you were either Nexus or Against Us. I think that's where we actually started the show and started using the Nexus theme song as this show many years ago.
Oh yeah, I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard it somewhere. Maybe I saw it on the track to Twitter. But come to find out that DSP Tries It jingle was lifted from somebody else's shit, which no surprise there. I didn't know that, but no surprise by that whatsoever, to be honest with you. I'm sure if you go back far enough in DSP stuff, you're going to find shit that was lifted. Like, for example, we already, as of late, it was the, that one kind of anime-ish artwork where you have, a visual of duty, so to speak, or a representation of him, and then DSP with a spoon coming down on him and whatever, and that got lifted off of something else. But if you go back and really look at some of the stuff that was made for DSP, I'm not talking about the troll fan art stuff. I'm talking about if you go back and just look at, some of the stuff that was made for DSP that he's used as assets, more than likely they've been lifted from somebody else, to be honest. It's just a matter of being able to find it and track it down. I'm sure you'll see more of it as time goes on.
Back then, I mostly did it because I wanted to look for a variety of content I could put on the internet that I could monetize.
Told you. I told you. You're never a wrestling fan. You know what I'm saying? You just did it for profit. It kept John happy. It kept Nelson happy and some of those other guys in the group who gave a fuck about wrestling. And he just did whatever he did to fucking shoehorn all that in. Yet again, going back to what John said back in 2015, like, I don't even know if the guy was really a wrestling fan or, or whatever. Because if that was the case, why would you stop watching it? Why would you need me to be there and do the wrestling show with you to keep you watching the show? So yet again, it's just history repeating itself.
And then it ended up being a fun show to do with a friend of mine for variety content. We were both lifelong wrestling fans. And
you mean that employee? Lifelong wrestling fan, but didn't watch the Attitude Era. And his employee / friend / employee. Like, even the way he explains him and John's friendship is weird. Oh, we had an hour of emotional, intimate time, part of our friendship, and then the rest of it was work. Like, what? Like, that's not how friendship works. But everything comes across to him as transactional, which is interesting because when you think about how DSP responded to those PPP DMs, right? And he was like, oh, I don't know if he's gay or not. Oh, I don't know if he's just lonely or not. And I didn't mind being friends, but really when it only came to the content, I didn't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, DSP was, the way he was laying that out, He doesn't want to be anybody's friends. Everybody's meant to be used. They don't have any other value past that. You know what I'm saying? One, because he's paranoid, but two, his whole mindset is to use people to get to where he needs to go. He's always been that way. That if now that I go back, and I know I'm one of the people who keep propelling this love affair that he has with John, and I honestly believe he does love John. I think he honestly does. He doesn't want to admit it to himself because he's hurt, but and he's still hurt. But I honestly think he does love John. I think he loved John more than he ever loved Panda. Certainly more than he loves Cat. But I also think that he loved John mainly because of what John could do for him and how John made him feel. John made him feel important. John made him feel like he could do anything. And maybe even in some ways he made, John made him feel superior to other people to some degree. I don't think John did that innately, or I don't think that was John's initial motivation. You know what I'm saying? Or that wasn't his intent. But that's certainly what DSP took away from it. And DSP is so delusional that I wouldn't be surprised by that. I think that when you really go back and look, in a weird sort of way, the relationship, or friendship, I should say, whatever, friendship between John and DSP is incredibly, it's toxic, obviously, but I think it's abusive too. I think it was abusive in such a way to where DSP could lash out or shit on John online, I should say, because it doesn't seem like he was man enough to do that to his face, but online, to see what he could get away with, to see what John would be willing to respond to or what he wouldn't. And that's why the 2015 John and Howard response hurts DSP so bad. Hence the reason why DSP had the damn thing taken down, is because he never thought John would do that to him.
So you're not really apologetic if you're doing that. You're not really trying to make things right. And you're really not hurt by the situation. Okay? Like, if you and I had a problem, Howie, but you never know.
I know, right?
And I felt really bad that you're not speaking to me. I'm probably not going to make things worse.
No,
by saying shit like whatever he said, the insults that he said in a public video.
Yeah, and
it's almost like he's always got to try to save face. I'm the winner. There's no winner in this situation, man.
No, and I didn't think there was going to be a winner. Again, they are off base here. There's no winner here. I wasn't trying to be, I'm the guy that is the winner here. I knew there was going to be a culmination and an explosion. I thought it was going to be they contact me behind the scenes and say, fuck off, never again, stop contacting us, block, block, block. Or, wow, all right, let's finally hash it out. We ignore, John, I thought it was going to be John saying, I ignored you for a year, but let's figure it out. One or the other. I thought it was going to be the former. I thought it was going to be fuck you, block, block, block. I had no idea they were going to make a public video like this at all. Because again, 90% of the shit in this video, it's the first time I'm hearing it. I didn't know there was a resentment about Project 7. I didn't know there was resentment about all these things that had happened over the years. It's first time hearing it. And it blew my mind and made me, feel like shit. But we'll talk about this in a second.
To address
so the
it,
end here. Let's finish this.
Personally versus doing it the way he does. And personally, I'll be completely honest with you, John. I really think that he watches too much WWE. Because it feels like, no, I'm not lying, dude. It feels like, it really feels like he tries to make his channel like that, where it's full of drama. It's all drama, just to try to create controversy.
My channel is all drama. Has he ever even watched the fucking channel? I played video games constantly. The vlogging was the rare shit. He's acting like I'm Keemstar. Like, what is he talking about here? It doesn't even make any sense at all what he's saying. It's completely nonsensical stuff.
So that he can get more views.
Yeah, and we're feeding into it right now.
Create controversy and to get views. That's me.
Like I said, he's still finding ways to monetize us after this time, but
yeah.
Let's bring up that. So WWE Smart Guys, man. People often ask him like, "Are you doing Smart Guys?" And he'll just throw me under the bus. Like, it's up to John. It's 100% on him if we'll do it. I got some text from him from last summer where he's basically like, let me know when you want to do Smart Guys so I'll start watching wrestling again. So what that says to me is, like, you're not really a fan of it. You don't really watch it. You will watch it if you could make a video about it and you're going to make a video about it because you want to monetize a video.
So, at this point, when you get to this, you're at the end of it now, and you're like, so everything now is evil. I mean, everything I do is wrong. Everything's evil, right? There's no jokes anymore. Again, this is the well's been poisoned. So anything Phil does is the mindset. He's only in it for the money. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. Everything is evil. Everything's bad. So there's a running joke that we used to make when we did Smart Guys that wrestling sucks. Like, most pro wrestling was bad. I mean, there's a few rare times when the CM Punk plotline happened and we liked that. But in general, that the wrestling was quite bad. It wasn't as good as the stuff that used to be on TV. It's a running joke that, it's bad. Okay? Now, when he contacts me about, or when we're talking about this, it's a joke. Oh, I'll start watching wrestling again once, we're going to do the show. I just moved, all right? I hadn't been actively watching wrestling because I hadn't been actively doing anything and fallen back into my habits, all right? But I was still following it. I still knew what was going on in wrestling. I was, reading stuff online, social media and the like, and I was eventually going to get back into it. I feel, hey, a great way to get full-fledged back into it after not being, attached to it for a couple months would be for the show. But it was a joke. Oh, I'm not watching it. Yeah, we'll watch it again when we're going to make the show. It's a joke, it sucks or whatever. Now, this couldn't be further from the truth. Allow me to flip this a little bit. I don't really like doing this, but this is, at this point, John, I think at the end of the video here, he just starts throwing Hail Marys. What's the last few things I could say bad about Phil? All right? During the course that we were making Smart Guys, all right, I was watching everything. I was watching every program on WWE, including Raw, SmackDown, and the other formative shows that were coming out at that time. Plus, Impact Wrestling. Every week I was watching Impact Wrestling. John didn't like 90% of the wrestling. So every once in a while he'd watch a Ring of Honor show and bring that to the table. But for the most part, he would come in, and after maybe just a few months of doing the show, expressed to me that he didn't like the wrestling stuff anymore. He wanted to keep doing the show and talk about it. But he said, so just so you know, I'm going to come in, and I'm not going to know anything about the shows because I didn't watch them. But what we're going to do is we're going to open up. I had an iPad at the time. We'll open up your iPad, and we'll use this app to go through the results of the show. So even though I didn't watch any of the wrestling, you can go through it because you watched it. And as you're talking about it, I'll give you what I think about what happened on the show, but I haven't watched it. All right? So kind of funny, the whole time we're doing Smart Guys, arguably half the time, like the second half we were doing the show, he wasn't watching wrestling. He was basically having me talk about what happened, going through results, and giving my opinion on it because I had watched it, and then he would chime in. All right? People didn't know that. He was good at bullshitting, I guess. All right? But here we are, years later, the show's retired, we want to restart it. I make a joking comment, oh, we'll start watching it again now, I haven't watched it in a while, wrestling sucks. Oh, see, Phil only watched wrestling because he would monetize it. Dude, we were making a show together, monetizing it, and you didn't watch it. So what are you talking about? Like, completely hypocritical there. And that irks me because that's a particular situation where I was really carrying the workload for that show, and he was just riding along. And now here it is years later. Oh, what's the last few darts we can throw at Phil at the end? Oh, he made a joke about wrestling. That means he only monetizes wrestling. He doesn't watch it outside of it. Sure. Whatever you say, John.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just really weird, like I'll start watching when you let me know that we're gonna do the show. Otherwise, I'm not gonna fucking look at it. I don't know. Let's go to Thanksgiving last year, man. I'm just trying. We only got maybe a couple things here left just to get out of here.
There's really nothing left. They're just gonna reiterate
Not
things they've
ruin the
already said
entire
at this
day
point,
here.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because life is good, man. If you let life be good, there's a lot of great things you could be doing with yourself.
Oh, exactly.
So, yeah, on the Thanksgiving video that he put out this year, he talks about how last year he was not invited on the Black Friday show.
In a similar way, on how Beck for a while with Amberlynn Reed, how she responded after being fucking verbally abused in the public eye for as long as she did. Amberlynn never thought that Beck would ever respond to her or ever respond to any of the claims. She thought, you're my nice little personal punching bag. I treat you whichever way I want. And if I decide to accuse you of something like, SA, like what she ended up doing to fucking, who was that? That was Casey? I think she goes by Case now. But That was the first girlfriend of Amber's, at least that was publicly put out there, I should say. If I can put all these claims on you and you'll just take it. And I think in the same way Amber thought she could get away with it, I think DSP thought so too. Until he couldn't. And then you saw how everything clusterfucked to there. Because if you think about the John and Howard response, think about the months that led up to that. Think about all of the Ask the Kings. Think about all of the fucking weekend previews. Think about all those, like, you know what I'm saying? Think about all those different segments where people are asking about John and Howard, mainly John, and DSP came up with all these reasons, like, oh, the ball's in his court. Oh, well, he can reach out to me. Oh, well, you know, he's going through some stuff right now instead of third. Let me read his text messages off. Let me do this at the third. Like, it was only a matter of time until someone hits their breaking point. I just honestly think people like Amberlynn and DSP never thought they would be brave enough, I guess, to do that to them in such a public sort of way.
It ran many years, 2-3 years there, until I finally moved out of Connecticut across the country to Washington State, and the show basically was retired. But the thing was, it wasn't originally meant to be retired, okay? The show was meant to continue, but it just didn't work out that way. So for many years, people said, DSP, will you do wrestling commentary again? Will you ever get back into it? And I always answered, I don't know, maybe, maybe not.
No, the reason why is, yet again, it was completely and utterly predicated on John. He needed John to be the I guess the fulcrum of that show, be the nucleus of that show, be the lightning rod of that show. Because truth be told, John, because he was so sparing in that content, he was really the draw, because truth be told, he was the one that people really liked. You know, John and Howard were the likable ones. DSP was just always there. You know what I'm saying? So when you listen, and I think honestly, when you listen to John talk about wrestling, and then if you were to listen to some of PPP, when he talks about wrestling, you can see how the care that's in there, right? You can see the actual interest in there. And then all you see is just DSP trying to bounce off of it. That's all. It's literally all it came down to. So it's no surprise that the first Smart guys failed because DSP couldn't get John to come back. Or DSP wasn't brave enough to do it on his own because he didn't care. He really didn't. But he loved the profits, but he didn't want to put the work in. Like I said, that's what happens when you're reactionary and you're not proactive. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. DSP is a reactionary person. He needs to bounce off people. Wings is like that too, actually, in a lot of ways.
I don't know how the show would feel without having the original host on and stuff like that. And so I continued to play pro wrestling games and things like that, but I didn't really do much else. Now, fast forward to around 2020, COVID hits, and basically pro wrestling now ends up being without a crowd. It completely turned me off. And so for a 5-year stretch, I didn't watch pro wrestling at all. Seriously, I just stopped entirely. I stopped playing the...
But that's literally not true either. For one, he was still watching wrestling, or he was at least watching the clips of it, I should say. And he had the wrestling network, the WWE network, by the way, too. But he was watching clips of it on Twitter, on top of the fact that the dude's playing WWE champions, hence the reason why it gave that right there almost gave him an excuse or a reason to keep up with what the product was or the storyline at the most part. Which leads back to, you've been playing WWE champions this fucking long. Why didn't you just, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there were plenty of ways you could have captured it. Why didn't you and put it out there and try to profit off of it? Yet again, just being ass backwards. But if you go back to 2014, when he moved from Connecticut to Washington, and him and John were still kind of on speaking terms at that time, you know, but John was like, hey, I've done a lot of damage to myself. I need to kind of recoup my losses. I gotta, you know, rebuild. I'm not going to be able to do anything for a while. DSP responds with, well, okay, no problem, John. You know what I'm saying? Let me know when anything's John. Well, you know, we can still do the wrestling thing. And John's like, okay, cool, but give me some time to, you know, get myself in order, and then I'll figure out when I can get on the phone with you and we can make that happen. DSP responds with, okay, well, let me know when that happens and I'll start watching wrestling again. So it was very clear that DSP wasn't even watching wrestling at that time and had no plans to unless he could profit from it. That was far before 2020.
Games like pro wrestling stopped being a part of my life for a good, you know, 5+ years of time. And so a lot of people kind of moved on from me doing pro wrestling content.
People moved on from you doing pro wrestling content before that, to be honest with you.
didn't really care anymore, or anything like that. Now, this year, 2025, a year of interesting ideas and reinvigoration, I decided to bring back this show starting in early January to coincide with the premiere of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. A rebranding. They redid the show. They made it look better and everything. And so I was very excited to try to...
And that's another thing, too, that actually hurts DSP more than anything. DSP always tries to latch himself on to whenever something new or different or special is coming out, right? Because, it's something new, something different. You may run the YouTube or whatever your platform of choice is to see who else is talking about it, this, that, and the third. And he thinks that's going to carry the day. Well, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, just mirrors when he used to try to get the hot new releases back in the day, and he would get it on, early release night or whatever and try to play it first and try to hit online. He never got out of that mindset. And the reality is that, it's going to give you a buzz, right? It might give you, it might give you a pop, but what are you going to follow that up with? Well, DSP's so lazy and inept that he has nothing else to follow it up with. That's the reason why KO Gaming died out after a while. Once he had that one viral, not really viral, I guess you could say it was viral. Once he had that one viral video, what was that? I always miss this one too. What was that? Homefront Revolution. Once he put that out there, and it actually started doing really good numbers and stuff, he didn't have nothing to follow it up with. He decided to go on a staycation. And more importantly than that, that video didn't do well because DSP put out there to hit the algorithm or something. What happened was there was a much larger content creator that, and I've never been able to find this video, but I know that's the case. Like, I can't find the video anymore, I should say. But there was a much more popular or influential gaming content creator who also did a review on a Homefront Revolution. They used the clip of DSP's content in their content, and they also linked them down in the description. That's where DSP got the rub from. But the point was, and that's the reason why that video did so well. Here's the point. The point was that he didn't have anything to follow it up with. He decided to go on staycation or whatever. And by the time he came back, he lost all his momentum. And that goes back to something that DSP's constantly doing, believing that he has more time than he really does. You know what I'm saying? When you get that type of attention on you, you need to be able to capitalize off of it. And DSP don't think that. He's like, I'm big now. I'm the man now. I'll be back when I'm ready. And the world doesn't work like that. It didn't work like that then, and it damn sure don't work like that now.
Cover pro wrestling again. But I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I didn't know if having a new co-host was going to work or not. I didn't know if the show was going...
Even though he was the one that was... I can't remember who pitched it to who. I want to say DSP pitched it to PPP. Or it started off as a joke, maybe. Maybe PPP joked about it initially. And then DSP latched onto it and basically badgered him and shit until they finally did it. Something along those lines.
To garner any kind of audience or attention. And so, the entire time that I've been doing Smart Guys, since January, this 3.5 month kind of odyssey that I have had, this journey, really was a test.
And actually, I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I put this in the I'll name this segment later. But I honestly believe that DSP didn't want a wider appeal through the wrestling content. I don't think he wants a wider appeal from anything that he does. I think he just wants the money. I think he tries to put out the image or the veneer of, I'm trying this new thing. I'm hoping it's going to get popular so our community can grow. The reality is I don't think he wants that, because that's just more people to come in that he's inevitably going to end up pissing off and then are going to get drove into the detractors. Or just more people that end up getting their eyes on Darksydephil. They go into Google, they go into YouTube, look up Darksydephil, they're pointing to detractor content, and then they just go there. He looks at that, if you really think about it, any type of foray into any other community or doing anything new is really just advertisement for his detractors, not him. And I think he's scared of that. I think really what he wanted to do was become more of a growth, if you will, or a parasite, or a tumor, if you will, on the Kino Casino, and ingratiate himself and feed off of them. It wasn't about a wider audience. It was really about just latching himself on the Kino Casino for as long as he could. which is really uh, disgusting. But sorry, but I'm not sorry. I think that's honestly what it was. He was never trying to go for a wider appeal, because the further Darksydephil's name gets out there, the more light that's going to be shined on his detractors. Well, no, let's reword that. Let's remix that. The more DSP tries to expand into other communities, the more attention that is brought to his detractors, and the more light is shined on DSP and his dumb shit. And Lord knows he needs any more of that.
If DSP were to actively watch and cover wrestling again, would anyone care? And, you know, the show has definitely had its highs and lows. I've now had 4 different co-hosts, drama segments focused solely on pro wrestling. I've unboxed WWE Topps trading cards, right? And basically done a whole lot of commentary on Raw, SmackDown, and that one time when I actually watched and talked about AEW. And basically, the attention span has been interesting. Sometimes people show up. Sometimes people don't. You know, it all depends. And I would argue that overall, this has been a success, okay? But when I say that, what I mean is, you know, we get some good attendance, maybe a few hundred people watching between my YouTube and Kick channels, and that's good. And we've got some support, some weeks better than others. I feel like some weeks people were here only watching because of my former co-host PPP, while some weeks people have been here just for me. And then other weeks people are here because they want to watch and see who's the new co-host, who's the co-host Phil has this week, right? So it's been interesting.
You know what this mongoloid isn't telling you? That no one's actually there for the wrestling content. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting how that right there got left out? Semantics. Excuse me for being a brain dead idiot and thinking that anybody gave a fuck about the actual content itself. Nope, you either sucking off DSP or PPP or the drama. Gotcha.
Really has. And I've been thinking about this for now for 3.5 months. Is this something that I want to continue to do or not? I've had fun doing it, but at the very same time, to be frank with all of you, it's a lot of time investment. It's a lot of work.
If you're a fan, then it shouldn't feel like work. Just saying, if you're a fan of wrestling, it shouldn't feel like work. But whatever. Work.
And quite frankly, it can prove pretty frustrating when not a lot is going on or I'm not enjoying myself.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you're a poser. It's not like there aren't forums that you can't go to. It's not like there isn't a huge wrestling community on Twitch/X. There's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like there are places you can go. There's a huge YouTube community and shit of different wrestling content creators and so on and so forth. The Reddit is constantly popping the fuck off and shit. And then there's spaces. Like I said, I got as of, I don't know, maybe the past 8 months or so, I've kind of floated in and out of a few of them and whatnot. And there's some pretty cool people in there. You know what I'm saying? And they sniff out posers like super fucking fast. Like super fucking fast. Like guys that are like, you know, that they're in there just trying to like build a name up for themselves or whatever. Like you could, those guys get sniffed out quick as shit. Holy fuck. It kind of reminds you of the farms in a lot of ways. Speaking of which, the farms actually has a pretty good thread as it pertains to wrestling. So it's not like there aren't avenues that he couldn't be traveling down. You know what I'm saying? It's just he's just too lazy. It's just so much easier to have someone else do all the work and just bounce off them.
Okay. Now, to be honest here, this weekend, watching WrestleMania 41, almost 8 hours of pro wrestling that I had to watch this weekend in order to be able to review WrestleMania 41 for you on this super show that I'm about to perform. It was a lot of work and it was a lot of time invested. And I was tired last night after finishing WrestleMania. I was like, good Lord, you know, if I didn't have to cover this on Monday, I probably would have stretched it out and watched it more casually. But, you know, I had to watch each show each night so as not to be spoiled and to be talking about it fresh the day after. Okay. But, dude, it has been a hell of a journey and has been a hell of a...
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. Like, because, like, for example, like, JD from NY, right? Someone who I follow. Like, that dude was doing, like, basically match-by-match breakdowns and shit on Twitter in real time. as the event was going on. There was a lot of content creators and streamers who were doing that shit. To be honest, he wasn't going to beat any of those people out. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. You got the people who are actually watching the event. You got the people who are recapping people who they follow until they have like a day off, or, you know, they have like a couple days where they can watch it themselves. Like, there are all these different markets, there are all these different demands, and there's all these different marketplaces for set demands. DSP doesn't fit into any of them. Even though, like, look, like, if you listen to what he's saying here, he was trying to have his ducks in order. So the next day, the day after WrestleMania was completely completed or completely done with, he could go ahead and speak on it. Well, that wasn't going to help him, to be honest, because people already had it out there. Jesus, there was dudes in the FGC that were talking about this shit. I think Justin Wong was actually at WrestleMania. He took a picture with a couple of people and whatnot, and there was giving some play-by-play on some of the things that he saw and whatnot. And he wasn't the only one. There's a bunch of guys that were doing that shit. So no matter what, DSP is always going to be behind the 8 ball. This is where networking comes into play. But you can't trust him, and he's too lazy to network with anybody anyway, on top of the fact that he's too paranoid, so he's stuck either which way. So if this was his best attempt, truth be told, it's good that he quit, because if his best didn't get a whole lot fucking better, then he was just going to fall behind, or literally he was going to stay stagnant where he was at in the first place.
Arduous task, to say the least, all right? So here's the deal. Today's show will be the longest pro wrestling commentary show I've ever done. The purpose of this broadcast right now is to cover WrestleMania 41. I'm going to talk about each match, what I think about it, some play-by-play. I'm going to talk about what my favorite match was, what my least favorite match was, overall what I thought about the event. But we're also going to have all 3 of my special guest co-hosts chiming in. First, Ethan Ralph will be coming on the show live as a guest via Discord, and we're going to see what his opinions are. Then, about halfway into the show, I'm actually going to tell you what Cypress TV thought about WrestleMania. Sadly, he cannot join us live today, but he did give me his opinions, and we're going to review those as well. And then lastly, at the end of the show, to close out, we are going to have Gahul give his opinions on WrestleMania. So we're going to have all 3 people in some way, shape, or form chiming in and being a part of the fun today, okay? But it's going to be a lot of wrestling talk. There is going to be no drama today. I repeat that. No drama. We've got more than enough things to talk about in regards to WrestleMania that we don't have time for this nonsensical drama. Instead, it's going to be covering the show. All right? Now, I'm excited. I hope you are too. But people have been asking me for weeks, Phil, are you going to continue doing Smart Guys? Is this a show that you think was good? It worked out now that you've done this, 3.5 months. Well, the truth of the matter is the entire plan for Smart Guys was to start it with the relaunch of Raw on Netflix in January and to go through WrestleMania. And basically by the end of WrestleMania to determine, is this something that worked well enough in my schedule that I feel like it's worthwhile and it's something that I want to continue doing. Okay. And I'll be honest with you guys. I think that sometimes it really is fun. If there's a week where there's a lot going on, like, the weeks right after the Royal Rumble or after the Elimination Chamber, right? The week when Cena dropped his big promo and turned heel, right? That's exciting. There's also been weeks when it hasn't been so good. Weeks when it was a really boring Raw or SmackDown, when nothing really progressed, when you have wishy-washy plot lines, bad matches. And I think that's just the nature of the beast of wrestling, is it not?
That's the nature of anything, to be honest with you. That's what separates real fans from fucking grifters or fucking posers and shit. It is what it is.
That you're gonna have.
I don't even want to call DSP a casual wrestling fan, because that's just an insult to casual fans. So I won't. I'll call him a grifter and a poser.
Good weeks and bad. And if you're a pro wrestling fan, you kind of have those ups and downs, right? Now, in addition, I do feel that there's other pro wrestling out there that I have neglected. For example, I haven't watched NXT at all. I don't even know what's on NXT. And I keep hearing every week, oh, you missed out. There was a good show. I'm like, well, I don't have time to watch it. I'm watching Raw and SmackDown every week. So because of that, I don't have time to watch another show. There's also AEW. And AEW, the one time that I watched it, all right, was really weird. All right, to be honest, I found the matches were bizarre, the plot lines were odd, but it's kind of fascinating because people still talk about it from time to time, and I wonder, gee, should I give that a shot? Okay, so to be frank and honest, it's been fun some weeks and boring others. I do feel like some weeks it's worth my time and others it's not. It's a lot of work to do this show, as opposed to another stream where I literally just boot up a stream and I talk with you guys on a podcast or cover some brief news topics, or I play a game, which is just me playing a video game. There's not much with that, right? You know what?
Yeah, no entertainment, no real interaction, no nothing. Like he just sits there, he boots up the game and plays it poorly and ends story. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm surprised he really, because Tevin, praise me, said this years ago, that DSP should really go back and watch his fucking content. Because it's situations like this where, hey, I just turn this on and I just do this and that's it. Or we have this talking podcast where I just bitch at you guys for like an hour plus on end, and then I beg you guys for money, and then I react to the shit that you guys say in the chat, and then I'm done. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you go back and look at it, oh, thanks for telling us that you have no substance. Not like anybody needed you to go ahead and emphasize that. But it's very clear that you don't. You have nothing. You don't bring anything to the table. You know what I'm saying? And it's only gotten worse as the years have gone on. Gotta tell you, absolutely ridiculous. It's great, but it's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
I'm saying? So, it's what I mean. Like, FYI, it's a lot of work to do this because there's all this prep that I have to do to watch the shows. It's a lot different than just turning on a stream and doing other content.
And begging for content. Or no, begging for donations and shit. Begging for food. Yeah, I get it. I get it. This man, he's not a man. I'm not using that term loosely. But he has no fucking shame whatsoever. That's a goddamn shame, bro. I don't know how he's going to look in another 5 years if he can even carry this on that long. The next 3 to 5 years are going to be interesting.
So today, this very show is going to help determine the future of Smart Guys.
Uh-oh.
Today, if the show goes well.
Uh-oh.
If viewership, engagement, and support are good, I would consider continuing the show. Now, it may not be to the capacity that I've been doing it. Maybe I'll...
So this shit was always... I told y'all. This shit was always going to be on the chopping block. After WrestleMania, if, you know what I'm saying? Because he was expecting to get a big pop off of it. He didn't. But he thought he would. After WrestleMania, this was going to be a wrap. And even if PPP was in the picture, yet again, that goes back to Sunny point number 2 that I brought out to you guys. They would only do it in a limited capacity. If there was something big that happened during the week, some weeks, or a major event, the lead up to that event or the post to that event, if you will. Other than that, this wasn't going to be something reoccurring. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? And then it makes you wonder if under those terms and circumstances, would PPP have run his own individual show to just keep interest up? So he still has an outlet to talk about stuff on his own. And then, you know what I'm saying, then he'll have his little co-show thing with DSP. Because PPP did his WrestleMania wrap-up. Went by as well as I would have expected it to. So, you know, just, it makes you wonder if the two of them had stuck it out a little bit longer. I think I have videos written on that, or I at least have the outline for them. On how things could have been if PPP had stuck in with the bullshit a little bit longer, or if DSP had held out a little bit longer. I'm not sure if those videos are up at this time. If not, they will be. I'll finish them up if they're not done. They should be already recorded though, I think. I do wonder, or I do definitely want to speculate, swinecraft, if you will, or theorycraft, on what that circumstance would look like, what that alternate timeline, if you will, that alternate vortex would look like if both of them had stuck it out a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check and see. Actually, I'm pretty confident I've already recorded that, but if not, I'll definitely get on that, and that'll be out eventually. I think it's an interesting talking point.
Do every other week. Maybe I'll be sure to cover pay-per-view events / big wrestling events, but not everything, right? Maybe I would alternate my coverage. Maybe it won't be just Raw and SmackDown all the time, but instead I would every once in a while cover AEW, cover NXT.
And this is lame too, because obviously he's just dangling the carrot. It's just, hey guys, let me promise you all these things on the front end so you support this show, and then maybe I might do these things later on down the line. And truth be told, he probably had no intention of doing any of that. Unless this show made him $500, $600, $700, which it didn't. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Unless unless it brought in like a crazy sum of money like that. Like we're talking about, 600, 1,000, $1,500. He wasn't going to do any of those things. But yet again, he loves dangling that carrot or dangling those keys, over promising and under delivering, if you will. That it makes it sound so much more disingenuous.
That way there's some variety in there, and I'm not kind of getting bored with doing the same thing every week, right?
But we don't mind bitching and complaining in the Bottom Bitch podcast day in, day out. You never get bored with doing that shit, Phil? All right, just asking.
But honestly, I'd love to hear your opinions as well. Opinions have been all over the place. When the show started, people really liked it, but a lot of the attention on it was because of my former co-host PPP, right? A lot of people complained, too much drama, too much nonsense, too much e-begging. Why aren't you talking about wrestling more? That's supposed to be the point of the show.
And then as soon as PPP left, everything fell apart. Everything fell apart after that. So it makes you think, hey, DSP, were you being memed and trolled over there and shit by all that, and your dumbass went along with it? Or you really don't want to admit, you don't want to be front-faced about it and admit PPP was really the draw. PPP was really carrying this shit. I don't know. They should think.
Then I did the show solo for a couple of weeks, and people liked the new focus on wrestling, but then I noticed distinct drops in attention and support.
Well, so which one is it then? They actually liked the new direction, but they weren't willing to watch it or support it? Makes you think.
Then I started getting co-hosts on, and the attention seemed to have spiked again, but I really
for Ethan, but you admitted that those were bots. So are we willing to count bots just to make our point? Boy, the mental gymnastics we got going on right now, ladies and gentlemen.
don't know how to proceed moving forward. Okay? There's been some interest in possibly having a rotating cast of hosts, that maybe one week I have one host, and then the next show we have a different host, and we try to spin it around so that way it's not always the same person. Okay? Let's see what happens.
I.e., I'm scared of Ethan Ralph, and he doesn't want Ethan to have too much power or too much control over him, basically. Because I'm telling you, on a long enough timeline, if you're Ethan and you're still interested in even doing any of this bullshit, if you saw what PPP was able to get away with, you're thinking to yourself, I can get away with more. I can get away with a whole lot more if I really think about it, and you know what I'm saying, if I'm really strategic about what I'm doing. So, but alas, that's not going to happen. But it could have. It'd have been an interesting run to have two mortal enemies use the same idiot for their own purposes and shit for, the span of a couple months. It could have been interesting.
And go from there. All right. So thanks for being here for episode 14 of Smart Guys, the WrestleMania 41 Super Show. FYI, the way it works is if you contribute, I'm going to give you a live shout out. You'll get on the leaderboard if you're the top contributor.
Because other streamers don't give live shout outs to their to the people who contribute to their content or to their streams. I hate how he says that. I hate how he makes it he tries to make it seem like it's unique only to him. Like he goes out of his way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, so like when people send Tevin a fucking super chat or something, he doesn't shout that out live or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Agent Proper don't do it and don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Fucking that being said, don't do it. I'm just asking for a friend.
Of one type, memberships, subs, super chats, or tips. We're going to, have a running goal of $150 for the stream. If we hit that, great. If we exceed that, even better. Okay. For every $100 raised on the show today, I'm going to open a pack of the Topps Chrome 2025 cards, just like I've been doing in previous shows. We have 5 different packs of cards to open. So we can basically get up to $500 of support, up to 5 packs opened on this very show. And in one of those packs is the rare numbered card. Don't know if it'll be good. Like, for example, the Nakamura card that I got that's numbered is great. The other card is some wrestler, I don't even know who she is, Alba Fire, and the card looks awful. So it could be great. It could end up being a actual autograph card, which is one of the rarest cards that they have. Those are randomly inserted into the packs. We don't know. I don't know what I'm going to get. All right. So let's get some support rolling for Smart Guys.
That's the pitch. And see, that's the thing. Like, as useless as that sounds, think about what his pitch is for DSP Tries It. That's why I don't think that's just going to last too much longer either, unless it's a troll op. Spoken about that in the video before this, where I've been thinking about that for a while, that DSP Tries It has become slowly but surely a troll op to become more of a burden on DSP and Cat, and neither one of them even realize it yet. But I won't spoil it. But I'm wondering, I'm wondering, that may just came out of my own little sick little fucking imagination. But never know.
This will be one of the determining factors of if I decide to continue the show or not, if the show gets support today for the amount of effort that I'm putting into it. Okay? All right. And so, before we start...
Oh, it's so bizarre listening to the Darksydephil say the word effort. That's fucking fantastic.
Start talking about guests and the like, allow me to give you my overall thoughts on WrestleMania.
No thanks.
Okay, so everyone, that was a good show in my opinion. I don't know about you, but we literally, in exactly the amount of time that I had, did everything that I wanted to do with that show. We had all of the guests on in some capacity back, all the guest hosts. We got all of their opinions on WrestleMania 41. I actually got through the entire show, bell to bell. There were no technical issues. We actually even got Discord to work. Well, that's kind of good. All right. So it's this simple. I want to thank you all.
The cope. Holy shit, the cope. And all of this just so he could control the flow of the show. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being this major situation where, all four of these guys, or three of them, whatever, are all in the same spot. You can have some back and forth between the other guest hosts or whatever, some real interaction and shit, where Phil could really just sit back and let them kind of talk it out, and he could just pick his spot and comment or whatever the fuck. Instead, he wants to sit there and have control of all three situations. And, did any of them say anything memorable whatsoever? I wouldn't know. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm just throwing it out there. You know what I'm saying? Is that a thing? Was it a thing? I don't know. We go over it. I'll probably just go over the Ethan Ralph segment of it.
Anyone here who should I go to the actual Smark Guys stream as we adjourn here? I want to thank all of you who were on this journey, this 3.5 to 4 month journey with me, as I reintegrated myself into and re-explored pro wrestling over the last several months.
He already sounds like he's giving up. Holy shit, he's already sounding like he's giving up.
It was very fun, okay, to say the least. I think that we had a great time. For me to know pro wrestling for the first time in ages, to be watching the product, to be opening silly packs of cards with all of you, to have it be a part of my content again after a decade away was something special, all right? But now I think it's time for us to seriously think about the future, because I like doing the show, but basically the show does take a lot. I have to watch a lot of wrestling to do it. I have to set up and do introductions.
Now, I want you to think how sick of a little monkey this guy is. So he wants $100 for every pack pull or every pack opening, right? Then he still wants his $150 on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So $150 for the initial tips goal, if you will, for the stream. Then he wants an additional $100 for every pack open. Yes, I know it actually comes across like, oh no, that's all included in that initial 100, but it really isn't. He wants his $100 for just turning on the stream day in, day out as usual. He wants the $150 for that. Then, yeah, $100 for the pack opening, which is supposed to kind of go to the stream goal, but truth be told, it's something separate of the stream goal. So really we're up to $250, or depending on how many card sets he has. Let's say he has 3 of them. $250 turns into like $550, right? And then he wants his little bit of extra on top of that because of all the effort and all the research and everything that it took him to fucking put the show together in the first place. Think about that. Like, think about how ungodly greedy you must be that every fucking second of your day needs to be accounted for and be compensated for. This isn't a hobby. This isn't his quote-unquote job. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a wrestling fan and you're trying to do this program to expand your reach or to give the few people left in your fucking audience / community some type of I would say diversity, but what would he know about that? Some type of variety. Let's do that. That's something that I'm sure he's comfortable with. I'm sure he's not comfortable with the word diversity. So let's say it's a variety. This is a conscious decision that you're making. You know what I mean? This is not just for the betterment of you, but the people that watch you. But he never, ever displays it like that. It's always about, what does this do for me, me? And then maybe you guys will get a residual off that. I'm almost stunned that he was able to make it this far for this long. I gotta tell you. The shit that John and Howard said all those years ago just continues to be a reoccurring thing.
Have guests and all of that. I feel like this show works better when I have the host than when I don't. So that's, you know, a lot of logistics, getting them to be on and stuff like that. And also, quite frankly, I think that the show would be better if I wasn't just doing Raw and SmackDown. Like if I was every once in a while doing AEW, then maybe doing NXT, going back to Raw and SmackDown maybe a week or two before a pay-per-view, alternating like that. I think it would work a little better. And what I want to say is overall, thank you to everyone who stuck with the show, even though we had a huge change of theme, pacing, and hosts. You know, when this show first started, the idea was that the show would be 50-50 drama and wrestling. Now, as you can see, we transitioned firmly into 100% wrestling. And I think the show works as that. But sadly, people on the internet want drama. They want...
Like you see how like he contradicts himself? It was drama and wrestling, or 50-50 drama and wrestling. Then you guys said you didn't want drama. It went to pure wrestling. You guys seem to like that. But I can't seem to bleed you dumbasses for anything more than less than the bare minimum, apparently. So, and everybody seems to want drama. It's almost as if he got trolled. It's almost as if he got trolled in some ways. But that's just part of this grand conspiracy theory I have. It's kind of funny.
Me screaming at people, people screaming at me. They want arguments. They want insults. And as you can see, take a look at today's show. We just did a 4-hour, incredibly solid wrestling show, only covering wrestling and WrestleMania. And we didn't even hit my support goal, as if it were a normal stream.
Guess it wasn't incredibly solid then, was it?
If I had played a game, I would have hit it. If I had just sat here and hung out with you guys, I would have hit it. If I had built Legos, I would have hit it.
So what are you trying to say? You weren't begging enough through your fucking wrestling show that's the reason why you didn't get the money? Like, what point are you trying to make here? This goes back to the whole the 3 paths nonsense. You're slowly but surely contradicting yourself on that. And since I plan to do that video later on down the line, boy, you better hope either I forget or Diggs forgets to snip this out and put it over there. Because that legitimately that literally contradicts path 3 and path 2, now that I think about it. Because path 1 was the path of the shill. Path 2 was the king of drama, the king of hate returns, which is basically he chose death. And then path 3 was the way of the e-beggar. So yeah, this literally contradicts path 2 and 3, if you will. Womp womp.
So I think this is the problem with kind of straight up commentary when it comes to a topic, is that it's very hard, especially the internet wrestling community. In the last decade, from what I'm to understand, okay, in the last decade, the internet wrestling community became a lot bigger, and a lot of people are now known for being the people who do wrestling, right?
Yeah, but you could say that for any community.
It's kind of like, for example, when I play a Nintendo game, I have a great time with it, but a lot of people say, but Phil, people don't come by DSP Gaming to watch Nintendo. There's already established creators who do that.
That's actually not the reason, though. That's true. There are people who are just solely devoted to Nintendo. The reason why people don't go to DSP for that is, 1, it's creepy going to some old dude that looks like this to fucking watch him play a game that's meant for children. 2, and most importantly, he's already shunned or run out those people who were part of that Nintendo crowd. He's done that multiple times throughout the year to where no one just wants to deal with him anymore. It's easier just to go to someone else who's far more entertaining and, truth be told, actually cares about Nintendo products, the ups, the downs, and whatever, and not some fucking piece of shit who gets mad at Nintendo every time he can't make a buck off them. There's a difference.
And I'm like, well, that kind of sucks because I like Nintendo and I want to share Nintendo with all of you, my passion for Nintendo first.
Then go ahead and share it. Why do you need a price tag attached to it? Womp womp.
Party games, but they don't usually work that well as playthroughs. It's kind of the same thing with Smart Guys. Like, in my opinion here, I'm putting in a lot of effort to watching wrestling, giving commentary on it, getting the show produced and everything here for you.
Show produced? You mean turning on OBS? Okay. Turning on OBS and badgering people in their DMs that come onto the show. That right there is production. Fair enough. I guess that's a way of looking at it, I suppose.
But I just don't know if there's enough people who are going to come by and watch and support the show that it warrants the amount of time and effort that I put into it. Like, no lie, when I do other streams, it's very easy to set up and do. This show is the hardest show I do all week because I got to have an intro. I got to change the graphics and the color scheme. I got to have a guest that's lined up. I got to do the...
Isn't there an intro to the Bottom Bitch podcast, though?
Logistics of Discord and everything. I mean...
The logistics of Discord? You mean guys that are already on your list and you just send them a DM saying, hey, will you please come onto my fucking show, please, Ree? What the fuck?
Thank God I got these headphones. These headphones work way easier than the other ones I was using. So I'm glad I bought these.
You mean the other headset that you poached from Cat?
Discord use. These work like a charm. But yeah, I mean, again, let's be honest.
You're buying headphones strictly for Discord? God damn, dude, just wasting money for the sake of it. Jesus Christ.
Honest. All right, compared to all the other content I'm putting out, seems like Smart Guys is getting the least attention. Is it because there's no drama? I don't know. I don't know. I would like your...
Is it because you're a fake fan and you're bad at what you're doing and everybody can see it? Maybe? No? Not even a consideration, huh? Okay, well, I just thought I'd ask.
Opinions. And right now, to be frank, I haven't made a decision. Today, if we had overwhelming numbers and support, I would have been like, we're continuing.
Called it. Called that shit. What a greedy little goblin. Like a greedy little throat goblin. Holy shit.
For sure. But that didn't happen, right? So I hope you guys understand. You know, I have to try to figure out what's best for my use of my time. I enjoy doing this, but it's very time consuming. So I have to figure out, do I want to take a break from it and come back in a few weeks and maybe watch a little bit of, maybe do NXT one week, AEW one week, WWE another week? Do I want to have different guest hosts in the rotation? Do I want to just do one show?
It's funny too, because actually I'm not sure if you guys are catching this, but he's trying to see what he's trying to do is segment, or he's basically, well, no, let's go ahead and use a term that he's comfortable with. Segregate. He's trying to segregate all the different wrestling programs out to see which one will actually bring in the most attention and then hyper fixate on that. Here's the problem. There are already guys who do that. There are already guys who are only dedicated to WWE, AEW, New Japan, AAA, whatever. And then within those communities, right, you have people who may only care about a certain type of show. Like there are, and this is rare, by the way, but there are some guys who only give a shit about what goes on Raw. Don't care about SmackDown, don't care about NXT. They watch those things and whatnot, and they'll occasionally bring that stuff up, but they don't actually cover that as actual content. You got people who only cover what's going on in New Japan. You got people that only cover what's going on in Mexico, Puerto Rico, in Europe and whatnot, in Canada. Like those markets have already been tapped into and already saturated in, or not saturated, but they're all saturated. But you know what I mean? There's already people that are tapped into all those different markets and shit. Shit, you already have, and this is one of my favorite markets, by the way. You got a market where they only focus on the old stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or the retro stuff or whatever. Like back in the territory days. Like I love that shit. And for one, it's completely out of my time. But two, it's really fascinating just how it all worked. And it really goes to show, as much as I hate to admit it, but you kind of have to. It shows you how much of a fucking evil genius Vince McMahon was, dismantling the territories the way he did. Like the way he turned certain people against each other. These are guys who were making millions and millions of dollars a year and shit. They were friends. And he was turning these motherfuckers against each other over the silliest shit. In hindsight, over to build the conglomerate that, you know, Vince ended up building. Anyway, The point is that there's a market for all those things. So even what he's trying to scheme with is not going to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to have enough dedication to it. It's not like back in the day, Phil, when you started DSP Gaming, and you thought, or, well, Darksydephil, really, and think you could play a game in every single genre, and you're going to pull all those things in. Nah, people don't have time for that no more. People don't have time for that no more. You don't get to sit there and try to be a jack of all trades, master of none. That's, unless you're really, really good, which you're not going to be able to pull that.
Show by myself and then maybe have a guest host the next week. Yeah, I don't even know. I would love feedback, and maybe what I'll do is I'll talk with my audience on my other streams over the next couple of weeks and try to figure it out. But overall, I want to say thank you. The journey's been great.
I.e., let me see what people are willing to pay for. Not anything that I'm interested in or I'm actually passionate about, just to see what people are willing to pay for.
The return to pro wrestling has been fun. And to those who have supported the pro wrestling streams, thank you so very much for watching, engaging, and supporting. Okay? I really appreciate that. But I basically need some time to think. Today, sadly, didn't give me the answers I really needed. The fact that we didn't even hit my regular stream goal, I think it speaks volumes. If I'm going to do just wrestling content, which is really what I want to do, make productive content, is it going to resonate and are people going to want to support it? And I guess the answer right now is no. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed. This is the longest wrestling commentary show I've ever done. This is about 4 straight hours. I never did a show this long before.
This is so funny. This harkens back to something. Remember when DSP was crying to PvP about, man, you guys turn on your streams and you guys make thousands of dollars. You got all these people watching. You have all the support. And me, every time I try to do something, it just doesn't seem to work. It always seems to fail. It harkens back to that. Oh, shit. So pathetic.
So I really hope that you enjoyed it. And leave me your feedback. Leave comments on this video. Come by my streams on DSP Gaming. Drop by and just let me know what you think. Should I continue? How do we do it? You know, what do you want? Or is this it? Was it a good run? Again, when I started the show, restarted the show, I should say, in January, the intention was always to go from, you know, Raw's premiere on Netflix to WrestleMania, and that was it, and then reassess. And that's what we need to do, is reassess. All right? But anyway, thank you all. From me to you, truly, thank you guys so very much for watching Smart Guys, whether you watched back in the day, whether you watched today with a reboot, whatever it was, I had a great time. Thank you all, and let's figure it out together. If this is goodbye forever for my wrestling content, it was worth coming back to it, and I had a great time. And I am truly grateful for those of you who did show up and engage with the content, because I do like pro wrestling overall. I don't like watching 8 to 20 hours of it every week, but I do enjoy pro wrestling, and it was great to come back to it. All right? All right, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Until whenever we meet again to talk about pro wrestling, I wish you a safe journey. And remember, don't botch when you're on the top rope. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. I'll see you in the future. Peace out. Good evening.
Is your and I can say this with my audio shit too, but how does your audio just so inconsistent over literally 3 fucking shows? Like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you even change it from the first one? The first one was fine. Second one was kind of and this one is just far louder than it needs to be. Anyway, I can't talk because my audio is shit too, so it is what it is. Who am I to judge it?
How is everyone tonight? I hope you're doing well. I didn't have a chance to reset the leaderboard yet, and I'm just getting the chat open. So please bear with me. It's one of those nights where I'm juggling like 20 things that I'm doing at once. Yeah,
I guess juggling failure is hard, I suppose. I don't know if it's as much of a multitask as he says it is, but I guess it is hard.
I swear we'll get adjusted here and we'll get started and back to normalcy soon. You know, whenever I do something out of the ordinary, like doing a 4-hour Smart Guy show earlier today, it kind of discombobulates things. And then in addition to that, I was paying bills for the month and stuff, and, you know, trying to do everything, losing track of time. I hope that you're all doing well, and you're ready for an evening.
I swear to God, you know, when he talks about paying bills, it kind of reminds me of that, like, you know, like those really old shows back in the day where the father's sitting at the table and he has all his paperwork, he has his checkbook out and do all that. Bitch, you do everything online. Shut that shit up. Shut that shit up. This shit ain't Little House on the Prairie with Little House on the Prairie and shit. What the fuck, bro? Calm that shit down.
Of gameplay here with me on DSP Gaming. What is going on, everyone? What's up, NJZ, Mega Man X, King Michael? How y'all doing tonight? Let me reset our leaderboard.
Is there literally 4 people there? Holy shit.
Sadly, as you guys can probably see, we did not hit our goals today
Womp womp.
for Smart Guys.
Uh-oh.
And that was the longest, most in-depth, most painstaking episode of Smart Guys I've ever done. I mean, that includes back in the day when I used to do the show originally. You know, not only did I watch all of WrestleMania, 8 hours of WrestleMania over the weekend.
Extra doubt on that. I'm pretty confident he just skimmed through it. I'm pretty confident he just skimmed through it.
But also, I had to coordinate, you know, logistically, having 3 different guests on the show in various capacities. The good news is the show went down without a hitch. We actually didn't have any technical issues. Everyone was on time. Everything went smoothly, and I finished the show exactly within the time frame I wanted to do it. And we covered all of the stuff we wanted to talk about. It was like clockwork, okay? Problem is, I hate to say it, I just feel like I am late to the game when it comes to pro wrestling stuff. You know, I used to do Smart Guys before there was an internet wrestling community. Now I'm trying to do wrestling commentary after everyone else is already doing it. And quite frankly, it reminds me of like when I try to play a first-party Nintendo game where I try to play more.
Did you literally just, I feel like you just did this. And as someone who's repetitive himself, I can understand it. But like, didn't you already go through this spiel? I feel like we just went through this. All right, whatever. It's all right. Do you, champ?
Mario, or I try to play Zelda, and it isn't for my audience. My audience kind of tells me, nah, this is kind of boring. It's like a kiddie game. We don't like you playing this. And I'm like, but I don't understand. There's a huge audience for it. They're like, yeah, but you're not the person who draws that audience. There's people who've been playing Nintendo all along, or they're Nintendo specialists, and that's who.
No, they're just people that are far more entertaining and don't have a history of bashing it. That's what that is. Uh-oh. So it sounds like someone might have hit a sore spot with your ass. Let's hear that again.
It's like clockwork, okay? Problem is, I hate to say it, I just feel like I am late to the game when it comes to pro wrestling stuff. You know, I used to do Smart Guys before there was an internet wrestling community. Now I'm trying to do wrestling commentary after everyone else is already doing it. And quite frankly, it reminds me of like when I try to play a first-party Nintendo game.
I do notice too that snorting is starting to come back. He's ready to drop that bullshit and get right back into play with that. So that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting to see and shit, because he's been trying to hold off on that for a good amount of time, especially while Kino Casino was around. But now, since it don't look like he's gonna be able to work that out, I guess we'll go back to the disappointment and angry snorts all over again. I'm here for it.
Where I try to play Mario, or I try to play Zelda, and it isn't for my audience. My audience kind of tells me, nah, this is kind of boring. It's like a kiddie game. We don't like you playing this. And I'm like, but I don't understand. There's a huge audience for it. They're like, yeah, but you're not the person who draws that audience. There's people who've been playing Nintendo all along, or they're Nintendo specialists, and that's who people go to see Nintendo.
Well, no one comes to you to see you play fighting games either. Well, that's actually a lie. People want to come to see him rage at fighting games. But no one goes to you for anything as it pertains to fighting game knowledge, history, how to learn anything. That's not a thing, but you still seem insistent on doing it. Just thought I'd ask.
So I kind of shrug, and I say, well, it is what it is. I like Nintendo. I'm going to continue.
Well, truth be told, actually, no, think about it. Fuck the bullshit. What game, or game genre, if you will, does anybody go to Darksydephil for? Why does he play or do anything under those circumstances? Given what he's saying right now, makes you think.
You can play first-party Nintendo games regardless, but I just have to kind of accept the fact that they're not going to do so well, right? So same thing here with Smark Guys. If I'm actually going to do a show that's just real wrestling commentary, and it's not going to be drama, and it's not going to be a mix of other...
Do you not know how to handle a fucking lid? What's wrong with you? Here, take a look at this. Like, don't get me wrong, I know he's retarded, but Jesus Christ, like, can you not unscrew a lid and talk at the same time? The fuck is wrong with you?
Regardless, but I just have to kind of accept the fact that they're not going to do so well, right? So same thing here with Smark Guys. If I'm actually going to do a show that's just real wrestling commentary, and it's not going to be drama, and it's not going to be a mix of other...
He can't do both. He literally can't do both. Holy shit. No, what is wrong with you? Like your motor skills are just going right out the fucking window.
Like, yeah, but you're not the person who draws that audience. There's people who've been playing Nintendo all along, or they're Nintendo specialists, and that's who people go to see...
It's a nice gouty salute.
Nintendo. So I kind of shrug, and I say, well, it is what it is. I like Nintendo. I'm going to continue to play first-party Nintendo games regardless, but I just have to kind of accept the fact that they're not going to do so well, right? So same thing here with Smark Guys. If I'm actually going to do a show that's just real wrestling commentary, and it's not going to be drama, and it's not going to be a mix of other nonsense, which I don't want to do. I have no desire to do that.
And why are you holding the lid like that? It's like he's trying to, if whatever's in that spills, he thinks he can catch it in the lid of it, or what are you doing?
And I hate to say it, sadly, it's probably just not going to do very well, you know? And it's just funny because...
Sorry, that was extremely fucking unnecessary on my part, but that just... Like, you watching his motor skills, man, just literally get fucking sunk down the goddamn toilet. Just so bizarre. It's absolutely fucking bizarre.
Even though the few times it did do well. Like when I had Ethan Ralph on, it did really well that one time.
When shit was botted and a bunch of people from his audience decided to throw money at you. Okay, you got to count a win however which way you need to do it, I suppose.
You know, a few shows that I did with PPP did well.
Pretty much all the shows that you did with PPP at least drummed up the most interest. Everything else has been just a stagger ever since.
In general, I just don't think... I mean, why did they do well? Because I had those people on the show. It had nothing to do with the wrestling commentary.
And it had nothing to do with you. That right there must hurt more than anything. But all right, whatever. Just, do what you got to do, son.
Right? That's what I think anyway. So
hurtful.
It is what it is. You know, people say you have to build that audience. Well, guys, I'm 14 episodes in.
So what? There are people who fucking have 50 episodes in until they finally gain an actual audience for it. Some people have to go 100 episodes. You did it for 4 months. There are people who have been working at this shit for years until they can gain some traction. Oh, fucking retard. Holy shit. Great screenshot, though.
I'm 4 months in.
So what? You have a channel with 200,000 subs that don't mean a damn. If they did a purge on the channel and shit, you would probably have closer to like 50,000, maybe 75,000 active subs, maybe. And when I mean active, I mean they might occasionally check out some of the videos after the fact. If even that, and I might be just being overly generous. So what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? You think in 4 months you were just gonna shoot up the hierarchy, which is the wrestling commentator community? No, not at all. Not at all. Holy shit.
You would have think by now someone would have found the show.
No, not you. You're buried in the fucking algorithm and in the search engine. So no way. Nah, you were dead to rights. But yet again, I don't believe he was looking to get a wider appeal anyway. He was just trying to latch on to Kino Casino as much as he could.
Right? I don't know what else to say. You know. So anyway,
and keep in mind, this is the same tard who just said a few minutes ago that, hey, if this show had done incredibly well tonight, we would have kept going. So which one was it? Did you not get the attention that you wanted, or did you not get the money that night that you wanted? Gotta pick or choose. Can't have both.
The show actually went really well. I loved doing it. It was a great show. And I certainly hope that you will check it out over on DSP Reacts. But now we need to sit down and seriously start talking about the future, if I should do it or not, right?
And if he wanted wider appeal, why isn't it on the main channel? It doesn't matter. All of his channels are dead anyway. But truth be told, if you wanted a wider appeal, why isn't that stuff on the main channel? Makes you think.
The funny part is, again, it's like I said on the show, everything I've been doing lately seems to work. The only thing that hasn't consistently worked is like Pirate Yakuza. Like that was it. And now that's over.
Why? Because you can't equate anything that happens in that game to your real life and shit? You're not going to give us one of those speeches? Oh, well.
But it doesn't matter if I'm playing Blueprints or Minecraft or Disco Elysium, right? Sometimes a random fighting game, depending on what it is. Call of Duty, you know, all these games that I've been playing, they all work. People click with them and they come by and they support. So I don't know what else to say. If everything else I'm doing is working, and the one thing that I try.
What is his definition of working? Because all of those games that he's mentioned, he's had streams where he didn't hit the goal. So what the fuck is he talking about exactly?
Tried to do that was different, that wasn't gameplay, doesn't work, then I don't know what else to do about it. You know, I really did. I put a lot of effort into this WrestleMania show. I mean, tons of effort.
It took you tons of effort to watch WrestleMania and then give your opinion on it after the fact. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Woo! Between this silly shit right here, ladies and gentlemen, and Review Tech USA bitching and complaining for the better part of like 2 years of not wanting to do video game content or video game news because there wasn't a demand for it or he wasn't getting any traction or whatever, then tanking his main channel to only do the very thing that he says he hates and he wants to move away from on the second channel. Imagine that. And it has nothing to do with, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that the streams really aren't great over there on what's it called, Rich of Tomorrow or whatever the fuck he's calling it right now. I'm sure it'll change in another month or two. It's not that the streams aren't popping off and shit, and you know, donations are slowly starting to dry up, and it's just seeming like, no one's really interested. It's no, I need to go ahead and put videos up there so I can gain the channel more traction, so more people will like engage with it again. Try to fill the hole, no pun intended. Try to fill the hole that the Review Tech USA main channel has left out there, because I'm pretty sure that Rich is getting tired. He won't tell you this. But I'm pretty sure Rich is tired of seeing his contemporaries, his peers, picking up on the remainder of what audience he had over there, and they're all over there now. He's really mad. He's probably pretty mad at that, and that's why he's trying to draw back. Not to say that I'm some type of marketing genius or whatever the case may be, or nothing like that, but I'm pretty confident that's the reason why he started putting videos back up. I'm pretty confident that was the thing. But yet he won't re-upload all of his old videos back onto that same channel. That seems weird. I mean, why wouldn't he? Just saying. You don't have to do it all at once, Rich. Could do it over a period of time. Makes sense, but all right.
Again, watching over 8 hours of wrestling over the weekend and then coordinating, getting everyone on the show and running the whole show myself. But it is what it is. So let's talk about it. In fact, we'll talk more about it in depth tomorrow on the podcast, okay? Okay. Let's do some shout outs. No, that is a Minecraft Lego set behind me. Yes, it is. We built that on my birthday together. All right, let's do some shout outs. B-Cats over on Kick used some of his channel points and said red, and made a red message. Well, thank you, B-Cats. Some tips have already come in. We have a super chat as well. Our first contribution of the night is actually this $10 tip. Okay, I received a $3 tip. You should continue the show, at least for a bit. This is from Mozzie, by the way. Stop expecting so much from it.
Why should you expect so much from anything, to be honest with you?
I'm not expecting so much from it. I just want it to be a successful show like every other stream I do.
Every other, all your streams are successful, Phil? Gotcha. But we're still begging, though. Are we begging? Is it successful because the beg went off the way it was supposed to? I'm asking for a friend.
I'm literally not asking any more out of Smart Guys than I am from any other stream that I do.
That right there is also a throwback to something. I want to say it might have been actually during the Vest streak, to be honest with you, where he said that he wasn't asking for any more than what he's already being given. He just wants what he usually gets. He's not asking for any more or any less. So, oh man, I have to look for that now, but I'm pretty confident that was during like Vest streak when he said that shit. That's when Vest streak was really starting to slow down. But realistically, and don't let anybody tell you different, the reason why Vest streak ended up dying out is because he was so desperate to take control of it. Instead of letting people pick whatever the fuck vest they want and whatever. Oh, well, that vest is already taken off. I'm talking about the platinum vest, the Mr. Potato Head wrapped up in aluminum foil shit. He wanted that shit quickly off that once that meme started to get around. So he wanted to control what vest could be worn and what day. So at first it was like, well, I already wore that vest during the first stream. Let's pick something else. Then it was like, oh, well, I already wore that vest yesterday. Let's pick a different set of vests to wear today, because people were contributing vests to him, or he had bought a couple of them from his local whatever the fuck Goodwill, whatever the case may be, and whatnot. And he was slowly but surely trying to segregate. Let's use that term because Phil's comfortable with that. He was slowly trying to segregate what could be used and what couldn't, so he could have control of whatever it was throughout the week, which is stupid because, to be honest with you, the platinum vest was the one that would win more often than not. Just wear that. You know what I mean? And then he got to the point where, well, I put the platinum vest on, I had it on for like a half hour, my back is all sweaty, I'm taking it off. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So he literally fucked over a vest streak on his own. It's really, really silly and whatnot. Just because he can't commit to anything, he's a control junkie. And truth be told, he's not trying to give you value for your dollar. He's not trying to give you value for your time. He's trying to get all the money out of your pocket, and he's trying to waste your time for his own benefit. He gets off on fucking with people and wasting their time. Why? I don't know. But he's something that he does.
And all the other streams are working.
But then when it's his own time, though, great screenshot, he will bitch and complain to no end. To no end. It's fucking, it's so sick. Just absolute mentally stunted. Great screenshot, though.
I don't think that's asking too much. There's been many changes in your show, and you're not giving them a chance to settle in. The show changed over 2 months ago when I outed PPP. And since then, I did a solo show twice, and I did 3 co-hosts, and today we had the 3 co-hosts back. So I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure what you mean. As for the record, this show got me into wrestling, and since watching, I've gone from my first Raw show, and I've been enjoying watching wrestling on my own. I'm glad to hear that. I hear that all the time.
Just like how you have all these phantom detractors that reach out to you all the time and say they feel bad for what they did and they're not going to detract against you anymore. You mean like that? It's weird how all these things happen behind the scenes and you never actually see any of it in IRL. Seems kind of weird.
That the fact that I did something, whether it was I played a certain game, or I started a certain hobby, or I talked about something on stream, like let's talk about DSP Tries It, where I try various food items and then someone goes and tries that food item, right? I hear about this all the time, that because I do something on the internet, it inspires someone else to check it out or do something with it. That's cool. Really, I'm very happy to hear that. But you have to understand that I'm running a business as well as trying to have fun on the internet and maintain a hobby.
But that's literally not true, though, when obviously money's meant to win out. So you're literally contradicting yourself with that one. But all right, I'm gonna let you play your game, though.
I have to.
You can't sit there and say, I'm a hobbyist, I'm passionate about this, and then also say, well, money, cash rules everything around me. You can't have both. Either you're really passionate about this shit, you really care about this shit, and money will eventually come, or I'm money driven, and if that money don't show up when I expect it to, on schedule, on time, then fuck the passion, fuck the hobby. Can't have both. Can't do both.
Do things that work. I did Smark Guys now for nearly 4 months. 14 episodes. And if it hasn't found enough of an audience to...
That literally doesn't make any sense, because look at Steven Larson, for example, show you how much of a nerd I am. Look at Steven Larson. Them cats have a video that go up, twice a week, 3 times a week, I think. Plus, they stream at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Or look at JD from NY. That dude he has a video that goes up at multiple times a week. On top of him and his co-host stream at least once, if not twice a week. 14 shows in 4 months isn't shit when you think about what the standard, air quote, standard of those who cover wrestling, you know what I'm saying, on a weekly basis, let's say that. 14 shows isn't shit over a span of 4 months. But because it's Darksydephil, you know what I'm saying, he should be praised for that. But if you really watch people who make wrestling content, that doesn't mean anything. That's a drop in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? That's a slow month for most people. To be honest, it's a slow month.
Support it that I hit a simple goal that I can hit on all my other streams. There's a problem there. Okay. And I don't know if, like I said, it seems like for gaming, I can get the audience.
That's literally not true, but all right.
For podcasting, I can get the audience.
That's literally not true either. But then again, none of it's true when it takes between 2 and 4 people to fund the whole damn thing. Make that make sense.
Hell, for building Legos, I got the audience.
I mean, seeing a mentally disabled man try to put Legos together and almost go out of their way to make it seem harder than what it was definitely fascinating. I wouldn't watch it again though. I saw a supercut of it, but I definitely wouldn't watch it again. But it's definitely it was a thing, I guess.
So it might just be too much competition. Too many other people on the internet are talking about pro wrestling. They don't care about my opinions anymore. Especially
You think that you're competing in the gaming sphere? You have well, oh shit. You want to sit there and say you think you're actually making a dent in gaming or in the podcast game at all? But I'm not making. There's way too much competition in wrestling. I can't fuck with that. They got me beat. But you think you're actually something or somebody in fucking podcasting, or in fucking, which you don't podcast by the way, or in fucking gaming? Yikes! That's hurtful. That's hurtful. Two different spheres, if you will, or two different categories, if you will, that are far larger than wrestling. He thinks he has ground in those two, but he can't gain any ground in wrestling. Gotcha. If that's not ass backwards thinking, I don't know what is.
because I've been out of it for so long. I don't know. Again, I haven't made any decision either way. I haven't. I'm not happy with the fact that I put the most effort into this week's show and it did the worst.
I don't know. That's par for the course, if you ask me. It kind of worked out the way I thought it would, as most people thought it would, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay.
Continuing on, we have Why You Keep Change user who did a $9.99 super sticker as the stream started. Let's count that. Thank you so much for that.
It's so wild to me that he could have that automated. Like, you could literally have that automated. I don't know why do you continue to make that so difficult for yourself?
I appreciate that. And it looks like it's a guy who's like jumping for joy or something. I'm not even sure. His feet on fire? It's a very bizarre, it's a very bizarre animation. Thank you for that.
You mean the same animation that's not even on screen right now? Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. Clyde Baxter says there's someone pretending to be him. Is it this one? Okay.
There you go. Go mining for gold. Wow.
Are the commissions on the microphone and the Pac-Man lights featured products in the description offsetting shortcomings? I don't think that anyone's purchased a single thing.
You know what? I have a thing on that. What is it? There's See, this is part of something else that happened like a week ago. Okay. Let me see something. Let's see here. I can't remember what he was bitching about. But I ended up clipping it though. Because I was really, really shocked that he said it. I can't remember what it was. Now, he was complaining about something that obviously related to money. And he decided to bring up the fact that YouTube has this brand deal thing where if you're promoting certain stuff, you can you can put the links down in your description and can get credit for it, or YouTube will eventually do it automatically. I can't remember if he was shitting on people who shilligan or what. I'll go back and look. I can actually do that video today if I can find out what it is. But he had brought that brand deal thing up, and I was thinking to myself, well, then he said that he's been doing it for months and he just didn't tell anybody. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's strange. So you were trying to collect a percentage off of this additional service that YouTube provides, but you weren't telling anybody. But you were quick to advertise all the different peripherals that you had been purchasing over the last like 4 to 6 months. And then it made sense to me that that's the reason why. Because that brand thing has been out since before I want to say beginning of the year, if even before that. So that's the whole point of basically shilling all the bullshit on his own stream or whatever, in the hopes of getting attention from these brand deals that YouTube is associated with, and to try to basically pull money through that without making it sound like, oh, I don't have an Amazon affiliate code. I don't have this. I don't have that because I don't chill. He found just another way of going about it. Let me stop with that right now. But I do distinctly remember that. I just got lost in the shuffle. I'll take a look and I'll see if I can get that worked out. I forgot almost all about that shit. Holy shit. Because there's a really interesting theory behind that. And I think people are partially right, but I don't think that's what the whole scheme is. I'll when I get there, we'll speak on it.
Dang. I actually don't even know how to find that out. I don't.
Your glasses on, Phil. Jesus. There's nothing cool about some old dude running around on stream and can't see shit.
15 products have been listed. I have made $0.
Yeah, that's it. This isn't the actual stream though. This was like a week ago. But I need to clip this because that'll fall in line with my overall story with that. You'll see it. It'll come out eventually.
So no one has done it. If you don't know,
you know what? I think it has something to do with the new deal. I think he spoke about this during his new deal with Kick. Once he got not verified, when he got partnered, I think there was like a segment where he spoke about it. I'll get to work on it. I'll get on it. I promise. I'll get on it.
Sometimes there will be in the description of a video that I make, there will actually be a link. If you click on it, it'll take you to a place that you can buy a product in the video. So this microphone has been listed a bunch. If you like the microphone, you can go buy it. And if you buy it through my link, it's like an affiliate link and I get a commission. Yeah, no one's done that.
Makes you wonder, why wouldn't he just go ahead and get an Amazon affiliate? He can literally go and apply for that. A lot of guys in gaming and tech do that. I don't think Rich did it either. I don't think Rich was very smart to do that either. But still, it's not that difficult to get an affiliate.
No, I'm not surprised either. No one's done.
Now that I think about it, though, I wonder if Amazon, because Amazon and Twitch are basically, they're Amazon owns Twitch. I wonder if Amazon affiliates do the same type of kind of like background check, so to speak, that they do on Twitch before they partner you. I wonder if they do that too, and Rich and DSP were scared that some troll shit might pop up and they wouldn't get the affiliate, so they decided not to do it. I wonder why, if that's the thing. But now I think about it, didn't DSP used to have an Amazon affiliate back in the day? I feel like he did. I just didn't go anywhere like anything else that he does. Got so many questions now. That's man, that video's about to get flushed out. Holy shit.
Okay. Can we open a pack of cards if we hit tips on the late stream? No. We did open one pack of cards earlier. We had enough support to hit $100 and open a pack, so we did. But no, we have 4 packs left. I'm not going to do anything with those right now. I'll probably just hold on to them. Maybe we'll use them in a future thing or something, but for now, I'm not even going to touch them. Okay? So allow me to get set up here. Guys, please contribute to the stream tonight. Let's actually hit the goal tonight for gameplay, which is what you guys want from me, right? I didn't hit it earlier for Smart Guy, so we're still at 27 out of 30. I would love to hit 28 tonight, and then over tomorrow, streams hit 30, which means that we could do DSP Tries It on Wednesday. That would be great. Okay? So let's do it. Let's hit those goals, and let's get it going. Okay? Let's get all this stuff off. I can put on the cushion, the cover. Oh, I keep forgetting which light is behind me. Is it this one? Yes. Well, I got it right. Cool. Okay. Excellent. All right, let's go to the gameplay.
Guessing light sources now. Holy shit, man, he does everything half-ass. It's just like I'm trying to tell y'all. The way DSP does anything is the way he does everything. And he wonders why he can't get anything to work.
Green. Let's get this all set up because it's not. Get the camera refocused on me. I'm so pleased. It took a while, but I'm so pleased that we figured out the issue with my cameras. It was just USB cables. What a simple thing.
Wasn't he crying and complaining about it being the motherboard? Womp womp.
But, you know, from the way the issues we were having, you never would have known that. You know, it was very frustrating.
Yeah, it's not like you could do a stress test on your days off or before your streams, right? To try to figure out what that is. That'd have been too difficult. I got you. Roger that.
For that time that we were trying to figure that out. I want to change the
Holy
colors. Let's change the color of the leaderboard. I don't like the colors that we got up there.
Oh man. You know, it's kind of like what they say about DSP when his time is finally up, he won't go out with a bang, he'll go out with a whimper. I think Smart Guys kind of proves that. Oh shit. Woo! Oh boy. All right, so let's see here. Let's finish off with a drink. Why not? Oh, and final thoughts and whatnot. Holy shizzle. Holy shizzle. Man, oh man. Big ups to Chia. All right, so final thoughts. Oh, big ups to Raw Phil and Diggs, by the way, too. Big ups. All three of them. Very much appreciated. Okay. Final thoughts. Nothing was lost by Smart Guys, to be honest with you. The Grill Phil segment was probably the only thing that actually meant anything as it pertains to PPP. He was the only one who really cared about wrestling. It was a very one-sided thing. I don't think it took him long to figure that out. And I think for anybody who actually follows wrestling in any type of capacity, just listening to DSP talk would prove that that notion as well. I think that yet again, Smart Guys is just another domino that's fallen, rightfully so. And you know, I think the last crown jewel, I think the only there's a lot of gouty jewels, I should say. I think the last jewel in DSP's crown, if you will, is literally DSP Tries It. To be honest with you, it's not the gameplay, it's not the Bottom Bitch podcast, it's literally DSP Tries It. The moment DSP Tries It fizzles out, then and only then I think is when you're really going to see DSP in a mad dash to panic because he can't get anybody to pay for anything else. DSP smells it or whatever the fuck that lame ass shit was never going to work. That was just a failure in the bottle. And there's nothing else that he can really do unless he can bring other people in. But he's too scared that those people are going to be contaminated or tainted by the detractor influence, or they're going to be out to fuck him over, or he's going to somehow get outshined, and more of his audience, as dwindling as it is, will end up leaving to go over there. DSP doesn't have a foothold into anything. Him talking about he can't get into the wrestling community is because there are too many people in there is just fucking stupid as hell. Gaming's far worse. The podcast game is even worse. And you believe you have a foot in over there? Stop. In a minute, ladies and gentlemen, when all of his different avenues are burnt out, we're going to find out exactly how far begging can carry him. And to be honest, I think it's not going to go too far. The stress is really going to hit him. And then we'll find out what happens after that. But yet again, here for the long haul. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see whatever makes or breaks him for whatever that's worth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. Very much appreciate it. And I will catch you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully, sooner than later. DSP, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and it says DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. A GTG Networking Productions. For the Snort Report, for Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic, for SnortBucks Coffee Company, for Tim Snortons, and all of our subsidiaries, affiliates, and partners, I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. I will work on that kick deal video, because that's what it is. That's the thing that I was talking about as it pertains to that whole brand deal thing on YouTube. And I'll flush that out a little bit more during that. But anyway, I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, people. End the broadcast.